lesson, we're going to be talking about women because that's what this all is about, right? Faith and see. We're going to really learn how to grow as women together and grow into Christ. And so when I was thinking about what did I want the message to be about tonight, there's so many extraordinary women in the Bible, women that have ministered to me personally. So many extraordinary women. So how do I pick? Where do I go from? But tonight we're going to talk about a woman that is not talked about enough. A woman that you might not even really know of unless you read the book itself. Tonight I want to talk about a woman that we can learn from. A woman that we can walk away from here different. Because that's what we need to do. We want God to come into this house so that when we walk out here, we're not the same. That we just walk a little different, we talk a little different. We don't know what changed in us, but we know something changed. So if we can just bow our heads, we can ask God to come into this place and just come into our hearts. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you. Thank you for this opportunity to be here with these women, Lord. The women that are listening, the women that are here, Lord. I just ask that you take this message, Lord, that you use me as a vessel for you, that when I'm speaking, it not be me, Lord, but it be you speaking through me, Lord. I just ask that you take this house and you make it your home, Lord, and you just guide me and teach us what you want us to know, Lord. Show us what you want us to know about you today, Lord. Show us what you want to change, Lord. Open our hearts to receive your message, Lord. In your sweet name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
So we're going to be in the 1 Samuel, the first chapter. And today we're going to be talking about a woman named Hannah. I'm going to start from verse 2, and it reads, the name of one of his wives was Hannah, and the name of the other Peninnah. And Peninnah had no children, had children, but Hannah had no children. Now this man used to go up year by year from his city to worship and to sacrifice to the Lord of hosts at Shiloh, where the two sons of Eli were priests of the Lord. On the day where Elkanah sacrificed, he would give portions to Peninnah his wife and to all of her sons and daughters. But to Hannah he gave a double portion because he loved her, though the Lord had closed her womb. And her rival used to provoke her grievously to irritate her, because the Lord had closed her womb. So it went on year by year. As often as she went up to the house of the Lord, she used to provoke her. Therefore Hannah wept and would not eat. There's someone sitting here tonight, or there's someone listening, that there's something that provokes them. There's something that is hurting them. There's something that's hurting me. Every section of any one of us has something that is broken, something that hurts, something that we continuously push down deeper and deeper because we think we got it and we think that we can handle it on our own, but before we know it, we keep adding these anchors trying to push it deeper and deeper into it. And so maybe it's singleness. Maybe we're mad, so we're provoked at the Lord because he hasn't sent us someone to glorify his name with. Maybe it's because I'm a single mother. Maybe it's because I'm divorced. Or maybe it's because I didn't have the childhood that I believe I should have had growing up. And these things, they're just provoking me. Just like Hannah's womb provoked her year after year after year. She would go to Shiloh. Shiloh was the temple, the biggest temple back then before the temple of Jerusalem. And so she would go to this temple to glorify God, but she would go there mad. And how many times are we mad at God? How many times are we mad that something didn't work out the way we thought it should go? Something hurt us that we don't think we can get over. We're provoked. We don't know how to get over it, but we keep putting these masks on and going to serve him, going to church, going to the temple, but we're going with a provoked heart. And so, as we continue to be provoked and as we continue to add these anchors and we just push these things deeper down, these anchors take different forms. First, we were just trying to hide the problem. Now we have to add on to that anchor. It somehow came back up after I pushed it down. These anchors start taking form of substance abuse. They start taking forms of relationships that have no substance. They start taking forms of gossiping. And before you know it, you're doing things to try to get over the thing that's actually hurting you. You are provoked. And before you know it, walking around every day, you're easily provoked. Everything makes you irritable. Somebody could have not even done anything to you, or it could have been the smallest thing, but before you know it, it provokes you to the maximum level. You are provoked year and year again. And so, verse 7 reads, so it went on year by year. Sorry, guys. So it went on year by year. As often as she went up to the house of the Lord in Shiloh, she used to provoke her. Therefore Hannah would weep and would not eat. And Elkanah, her husband, said to her, Hannah, why do you weep? Why do you not eat? Why is your heart sad? Am I not more to you than 10 sons? As if it's not hard enough walking around in life, as if it's not hard enough for us to keep this down on our own, to keep these things that are provoking us on our own. You have the people around you asking you what's wrong. Don't you hate it when you're already mad and somebody says, what's wrong with you? But don't you hate it when you're trying to figure something out on your own and somebody else gives their opinion? Why won't you eat? What is wrong with you? And then, let alone them ask you what was wrong, now they took your problem onto them, and they say, am I not enough? And we don't know how to respond to those things because we're working out on our own and our own internal problems, and we're provoked on our own, so how could we even respond to this? And Hannah, this is Hannah's husband in whom she has submitted her life to, and she can't even respond to him. She's hurt. She's provoked. And I feel like we can learn a lot about what Hannah does next. Because Hannah's broken, she's provoked, she's mad at the Lord, she doesn't know where to go, and now she's got her husband on the right hand, and now he's her. And you know, when you're provoked, it's one thing. Something hurts you on the inside, you're trying to figure it out, but before you know it, your pain is on other people. Before you know it, you're lashing out on other people. And so, in verse 9 it reads, after they had eaten and drunk in Shiloh, Hannah rose. Now Eli the priest was sitting on the seat beside the doorpost of the temple of the Lord. She was deeply distressed and praised the Lord and wept bitterly. And she vowed a vow and said, O Lord of hosts, if you will indeed look on the affliction of your servant and remember me and not forget your servant, but will give to you your servant a son, then I will give him to the Lord all his days of life, and no razor shall touch his head. As she continued praying before the Lord, Eli observed her mouth. Hannah was speaking in her heart, only her lips moved, and her voice was not heard. You see, we can learn a lot about Hannah because as she was hurt, and as she was trying to figure out what to do next, by saying something back to her husband. He asked her a question, and in those days you should have responded to him. She was submitted to him. It was her responsibility to respond back to him, and by responding back to what he said, she got up and went to the temple to pray. How many times are we quick to speak? How many times are we quick to speak? How many times do we speak before we think? Or how many times do we consult God before we have a response to that person after they ask you a question? How many times are we getting confirmation for our words? It's not an often thing that we do, and we are quick to speak as women, and we're quick to speak in this generation to another woman. We're quick to run off at the mouth, if you will, but is it through God's will? Are we talking to God before we make a decision? Are we talking to God before we even realize what the situation is at hand? We aren't. We're just talking. You see, your words are empty if they have no meaning. Just like when someone's in a relationship with you, you want to have the proof, that something to back it up, that they mean what they say, right? You don't just automatically get it. And so, your word without God is nothing. You see, you can make these empty promises to people, and you can make up your own decisions, and you can plan your own destiny, but God is the provider, and He has the plans for us. And so she got up, and I think that that's something that we can learn from Hannah, because before she even responded to him, she got up. A broken woman, a hurt woman, year after year after year, a woman that just really doesn't know where to go anymore, and she's so distraught that she has to get up and pray. And a lot of times in our life when we're hurt and we're on rock bottom, that's what we do. We pray to God. When we're hurt and we're down there in our depths of despair, we're quick to pray God. God, get me out of this situation. God, help heal this relationship. God, accept this man for me so I can be happy, Lord. If you could just do this for me, then I can glorify you. And you see, we do that when we're at rock bottom. But what if we went to God before we even made a decision? Well, what kind of transformation will we allow for Him to do in our life? What could happen? We don't know because we've never tried it. You don't try it because you want to be the ruler of all things in your life. But what if you just laid down your life as Jesus did for us? What kind of, if you just waited and you did it for 1 week and you would automatically see the difference, you start to feel different when you stop trying to control yourself. Let's be real. I'm stressed out all the time, and when I start giving it to Jesus, I don't feel it anymore. They say, Maggie, you got all this on you. You're doing this, you're that, and I don't feel it. I can keep on going. Nothing hurts me. Nothing makes me tired because I got Jesus and I got Him on my side. I can keep on going. I can keep on going. And you know why? Because the things that I'm doing are glorifying Him, and He's going to rock with you every time. Every time you're doing things to glorify Him, it's just, you walk a little different and you talk a little different. It's just the way it is. And when you start to do it, people start saying they want some of that. They want to know how they can get like that. They want to know does it take? What does it take to be who you are? And it don't take anything but Jesus. I am who I am because of Him, and so are you. And so I wonder if you could be as strong as Hannah and just walk away from the situation at hand and go and talk to Jesus. So that's what He wants. He wants you to talk to Him. It says right here that in verse 13 that Hannah was speaking in her heart. Only her lips moved, and her voice was not heard. So the title of this message is A Warrior with a Word. And so Hannah doesn't seem like she said much so far. She's quiet, she's hurt, that's all we have for her. And it says right here that she was speaking in her heart, so she was so hurt she couldn't even fix her lips to move to talk to the guy. She talked to him with her heart. She spoke in her head to him. She prayed quietly to him. And so in verse 13, because only her lips moved and her voice was not heard, therefore Eli, the high priest, took her to be a drunken woman. And Eli said to her, how long will you go on being drunk? Put your wine away from you. But Hannah answered. Now Hannah hasn't said anything thus far. Hannah didn't even have the strength to talk to God. But Hannah answered. You see, she said one thing to God in her head, and now she has the strength to speak to someone else. She has the strength to respond. And so and Hannah answered, no, my Lord, I am a troubled woman in spirit. I have drunk neither wine nor strong drink, but I have been pouring out my soul before the Lord. Do not regard your servant as a worthless woman, for all I have been speaking out of my great anxiety and vexation. Then Eli answered, go in peace, and the God of Israel grant your petition that you have made to him. And she said, let your servant find favor in your eyes. You see, this is a woman that couldn't even respond to her husband, but she talked to Jesus for, it doesn't seem like it was that long, so it was a text on, and she prayed to Jesus for 5 minutes, and now she's got the power to stand up for herself. And not only does she have the power to speak to someone, she has the power to claim who she is. She said, I'm a woman with a troubled spirit. Okay, so what? I'm a woman that doesn't have a job. I'm a woman that's divorced. I'm a woman that's single. Claim who you are and stop trying to be something that you're not. God knows who you are. So accept who you are and talk to him about it, and before you know, you're confident with that insecurity. You're happy where you're at in life because you know that's where God has you. You know that God placed you here for a reason, so you're going to follow through with his plan, because he is not a man that he out loud. And so Hannah, she had the strength after she talked to God. All it took was a prayer. She didn't even have to move her lips. All it takes is a genuine heart. All it takes is a change, but only you can make it. And so you see that the high priest was calling her out, because he thought she was drunk. And Hannah, she didn't speak much, but now her words, it held weight. A woman back then didn't hold much weight, and now all of a sudden she can speak, and he says, let the Lord grant you your favor. And she leaves. And so now in verse 18, and let your servant find favor in your eyes. And the woman went her way and ate, and her face was no longer sad. This is a woman that was depressed. This was a woman that wept, that didn't want to eat, that year after year after year. And now she talked to God for this prayer in her head. She didn't even speak out to God. And now she's got the strength to stand up to someone. She got the strength to eat again. And she got the strength to have a smile on her face. And now we are crying by ourselves in our house. And we're hurt by ourselves. And we're harboring all this hurt. And all we have to do is speak up to him, and before you know it, we're happy again. We're smiling again. We're eating again. We're living again. And why can't we be more like Hannah? When something hurts us, when something provokes us, we go to God. We take the time to respond and go to God. And so in verse 19, they rose early in the morning and worshiped before the Lord. Then they went back to their house at Ramah, and Elkanah knew Hannah his wife, and the Lord remembered her. And in due time Hannah conceived and bore a son, and she called his name Samuel. For she said, I have asked for him from the Lord. Verse 21. Then the man Elkanah, Hannah's husband, and all of his house went up to offer to the Lord their yearly sacrifice to pay his vows. But Hannah did not go up. For she said to her husband, as soon as the child is weaned, I will bring him, so that he may appear in the presence of the Lord and dwell there forever. Elkanah, her husband, said to her, do what seems best to you. Wait until you have weaned him. Only may the Lord establish his word. So the woman remained and nursed her son until she weaned him. And when she had weaned him, she took him up with her, all along with a 3-year-old bull, flour, and a skin of wine. And she brought him to the house of the Lord at Shiloh. And the child was young. And then they slaughtered the bull, and they brought the child to Eli. And she said, O my Lord, as you live, my Lord, I am the woman who was standing here in your presence, praying to the Lord. For this child I prayed, and the Lord has granted me my petition that I made to him. Therefore I have led him to the Lord. As long as he lives, he has went to the Lord. And he worshipped the Lord there. And so it's one thing to talk to God when we're sad. It's one thing to finally have enough and finally go to him and speak to him. It's one thing to be provoked year after year, but when you say something to God, are you following through with it? You see, she prayed for this son, and she said she would get the son up, but are the things we're praying for, the things God gives us, are they things that we're willing to let go of? Are we willing to take what he's given us, the blessings in this one hand, and sacrifice them all back to him? Hannah used her words to glorify God. She gave the Lord her blessing. And this is the same way that you could use your words to glorify and empower another woman. You have to use your words with conviction, just like Hannah did with the Lord. She stood up to the high priest Eli because God gave her conviction. God gave her the power to stand up for herself and accept who she truly was. I am a woman with a troubled spirit. What are you? Who are you listening to this? Accept who you are. You don't have to hide anymore. You don't have to hide who you are from God, but let alone you don't have to hide yourself from another woman. Be open with them. Use your words to empower another woman so that it can turn back and empower you. Because that's what happens. When you come together with God, you may bless somebody, but I don't know if you've ever heard it before, it's a blessing to be a blessing. It continues. It's a reoccurring cycle, and that's what Hannah did. she followed through with her word? Are you giving God empty promises? Because when you say them, He knows them. He already knows what you're doing. He knows what you're thinking. And He already knows the plan He has for you. He lets us go along with these plans that we think we have. But when God's plans align with you, you know. It's no more questioning. It's no more stressing when you give it up to Him. And so I just wonder if we were like Hannah. Hannah was broken. Then she became a warrior with a word. She turned her whole life around by not even speaking a word. But once she spoke that word, she got it all. She got her son. But the important thing is she gave him up. Are you willing to give up what God has given you? Whether it be children, whether it be a house, whether it be a spouse, whether it be your job. Are you willing to walk away and say, God, it's yours. You gave it to me and you can have it. And I wonder if you challenge yourself to pray that prayer, what kind of work He would do in your life. You have to make yourself vulnerable, which is something we don't like to do much. And I have to admit I don't either. But in order to be vulnerable, vulnerability allows for change. Before you know it, vulnerability doesn't mean you're weak. And change makes you strong. Now, change doesn't always have to hurt you. And God's here to be your rock to lean on when you're changing. And so I just ask you, do you think that you can be like Hannah? Do you think that you can talk to God and empower yourself? Because if you give Him the opportunity to come into your life, you won't be the same. Before you know it, you're going to be claiming who you are. You're going to be happy about where you're at in life. And no, it's not always going to be okay. And you're still going to have the days where you're sad. And it's not all going to be roses and gold, but the best Christians are persecuted. And you have to be willing to let people persecute you. And they will. Over and over again, whether it be with their words, with their actions, with their authority, they're going to keep hurting you. And that's the devil trying to knock you off your course. That's the enemy trying to find any way he can get into your life. And that's what he did with Hannah. Over and over again, he fed on with the seed that provoked her. He let her feel like she wasn't loved, let her feel like she didn't have a voice. And when we have things that go on in our life, before you know it, our voice is taken from us. When we have a voice and then something bad happens and it gets snatched away from us, before you know it, we're like, we're not going to do that again because this happened. And we add on to it, and we're not going to say this because no one listens anyway. I'm not going to speak up for the change because I can't be the change because they're not going to listen to me. Why do you feel that way? I want you to think about that, and I want you to talk to God about it, because the moment you allow yourself to speak a word, God blesses it. Speak a word for Him and glorify His name, and your voice can't be shaken. Your life can't be shaken. Your walk is different. You're empowered, and before you know it, you're empowering other women. So I just want to ask you, can you be a warrior with a word? Can you give your word to someone else? Can you claim who you are? Can you embrace who you are? And I might have all this shame on my back. I might be broken and beaten, and I might have things I'm not proud of. But at the end of the day, I'm going to carry them and keep it moving because I'm going to accept who I am. I'm going to accept who I am. I'm troubled, I'm selfish, I'm controlling, but at the end of the day, the Lord still loves me. I'm a mess with a message, and He's still right here rocking with me. And the best message become messages because you've been through it. So you think that this is too big of a mess for God to get you out of, and He's saying, let me turn this into a message. Let me turn this into a way that we can impact others. Let me take you and let you speak to millions. You might not wonder why you're placed where you're at and why you're in the location that you're at. But God says you need to bloom where you're planted. He said that I placed you there for a reason. I had a plan for you, and you want to bloom, but you don't want to go through the seasons. And not everything in every season grows. I mean, in the winter, you think you're going to have those beautiful flowers? It's not like that, and the seasons of your life are the same way. And so God's telling you, root His word down in the ground, so when your season comes, you're blooming. You may be blooming just by your looks and your personality, or maybe by the amount of friends that you have. But how about you bloom a different way, a way that carries you further than a life? You can continue to have a house, have all this money, but where's this money going to take you? We're not staying here. We're not staying. At the end of the day, whether you believe or you do not believe, we die. And so when we die, where are you going? What are you taking with you? Are you investing more in yourself and into stock than you are investing into the kingdom? See, you'll put this percentage of your money there, but where are you putting the percentage of your money here to glorify the kingdom? Where are you putting your percentage of time here to glorify your kingdom? Where are you adding to the kingdom? Where I'm trying to be the kingdom builder. I'm trying to build the village because I know that when I leave here, I want him to say, well done. I want him to say, you're a good and faithful servant. And so can you just take the opportunity to build a village where you're at? Take the opportunity to speak to a woman and tell her she's beautiful. Why can't we do that? Why can't we tell a woman, hey, I like your outfit today? Why can't we say, hey, can I share a story with you? Well, why can't we just speak to someone without expecting a response? You see, we do it one time. We'll say, hey, how you doing? You look great today. Or we might say good morning, and they don't say nothing back to us, and now we're mad and we ain't gonna do it again. And I'm guilty of that. I'm a mess, and I'm still at fault. And so I say good morning to someone, and I'm like, I can't do this again. They didn't even speak back to me. But you never know what that good morning did for that person. You never know what your smile did for that person. Don't let these people around you mess up who you are. You're a person that says good morning to people. You're a person that smiles to people, and you're a person that's nice to people. And before you know it, you start getting contaminated by the environment around you. Before you know it, you're letting the chemicals come into your garden. And now you trying to bloom, or you trying to die? You need to grow. And the only way you can grow is with God's word. You got to put the roots down, because the roots will stay through the storm. The roots will stay through the season. I don't know if you know anything about gardening, but once the seasons come and the plants die, the roots are still there. How do you think the flowers sprout till the next season? Lay the roots. That's all I can say. Be still and bloom where you're planted. Lay your roots and be a warrior with a word. And so we can just close our heads and pray. Close our eyes and bow our heads. God, thank you. God, thank you. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you. Thank you for this house, God. Thank you for this opportunity, Lord, to share your word, Lord. I just ask that you take this message, oh God, you take this message and you spread it upon people. Spread it upon millions, Lord, that they might place their roots, that they might be a warrior with a word, that they might be able to embrace who they truly are, because these masks are heavy, Lord. And these covering up, these covers, they're heavy on us, Lord. We want to show you who we truly are. We want to be accepted for who we truly are. We want to grow of who we are. I want to be Maggie Danielle Hall. I don't want to be anybody else. I don't want to be the masses I've pretended to be, Lord. And I just ask that you take your word, Lord, and you instill it into our hearts that we might want to grow and learn more and learn who you are, Lord. And I ask that you take us, Lord, and allow for each and every one of us to be a vessel for you, Lord. It doesn't stop with me speaking. Now it's your turn. So I ask that for the courage, Lord. I ask that you give these women the courage to speak your name, Lord, because that's what we need. To build a village, we got to continue to grow. It doesn't just take one of us. We can't do it on our own. And we learned a lot about that today when we were building the houses and when we were cementing the bricks. We can't do it alone, Lord, and we can't do it without you, Lord. You're the cement in our lives, Lord. You're the thing that hold us all together. I may be this on the outside, and I may have this in my life, Lord, but if you're not in the middle of it all holding it together, it's temporary. And I just thank you for being the cement in our lives, Lord. In your sweet name I pray. Amen. Amen.